Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Dr. Garais. I am not Meredith from HubSpot, but Meredith from HubSpot made a really neat, HubSpot marketing made a pretty straightforward video regarding on what makes a good PowerPoint presentation. And I am going to, I'm going to play it and I'm going to pause it. And then I'm going to also put in like my own 2 cents and on how it's applicable directly towards your final group projects. And this is something to share with your group members or whoever is going to be the point person to, wow, pun intended, to do your PowerPoint. And then I'm going to also find some other videos on like how to, like what's the best way to present, and so that we can work on some of these things in class.
Today, I'm going to show you how to design a good PowerPoint presentation. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. Post any questions or suggestions you have in the comments below. Let's get started. Have a presentation coming up that involves PowerPoint slides? Creating the content and design for a new presentation can be a tough task. Between outlining, designing, and finalizing the details, it's not uncommon for a few questions to pop up. Where's the best place to start? Are some steps better to take before others? How can you make sure you aren't missing anything? And how on earth do you master those essential design tricks that can take a presentation from good to great? We're here to make the process a little easier for you. With the following tips, you'll be able to navigate PowerPoint like a pro. The first step is outlining your content.
So before you guys do anything else, like don't start, hey, get the PowerPoint and start clicking things and putting things together. I even do this now when I make my own PowerPoints for lectures or speeches or whatnot. I actually take scrap pieces of paper and then I make boxes, and then I tell myself, where am I going to talk about what? And then I start filling in what I need to fill in.
First, decide on a working title and the main takeaways. A working title is more specific than a topic. Think how the right nutrition can strengthen your kids' bones instead of raising healthy kids. Once you've got your working title.
Now, the working title or the title page, I mentioned this before, but where's my PowerPoint? Is it here? No. Let me just do it in Word. So when you're having a title, of course, it's nothing really snazzy for you guys, because it's your first slide has to be, of course, what it is. So let me say, for example, we're doing the nervous system, because no one should be doing the nervous system. All right, so the nervous system, and then of course, what course? Bio 117, professor is Dr. Garais. Please spell my name correctly, right? Whatever, team 8, and then in alphabetical order, names of team members. Then of course, date of submission, right? And then that's it. Right? Make sure you include these things when you're doing your title. Okay.
List of the main takeaways of your presentation to begin giving it some structure. While you outline, it's important to keep your specific audience in mind. Ask yourself, what do your audience members already know? What new information can you teach them? What are they expecting from your presentation? What's going to be interesting to them? What will keep them focused and engaged? Next, formulate your content as a narrative if possible. This may not apply for more formal presentations that have rigid structures, like performance reports, but for presentations that have more flexibility, presenting your content as a narrative can be much more compelling.
So what does that mean? Like I always say in class, narrative is storytelling. So tell it like a story, right? Like if I'm doing the nervous system, I'm definitely going to talk about homeostasis. I'm going to talk about, hey, how do you feel when someone, pokes you with a needle? Well, there has to be a stimulus. Then there's an ascending. So you see ascending pathway, also known as the afferent. Also, you can talk about receptors. Do you see how you tell it like a pathway or a story? And that makes it more interesting than here are the parts of the nervous system, yada, 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 yada. This is the physiology of the nervous system, yada, yada. It's because if you're gonna try to tell it like a list, oh, that's gonna be so boring. But again, some of you are just, this is your first time on the stage. If that's the way you want to do it, I'm okay with it, just to give you a little bit more, idea on how to make presentations and how do you do your PowerPoints.
Stories appeal to people's emotional side in ways that information, facts, and figures can't. They help you relate to your audience, and in turn, they'll make you and your message far more interesting for your audience. Next, collect relevant data and examples to boost your content's credibility. While big statements can help you set the stage, supporting those statements.
Now, that comes also with the idea, remember we talked about APA formatting. That comes with also the concept that, yes, you can get stuff from your book, but why don't you try to find things that are modern, that's new and interesting. You can Google what's new in, let's say if I was doing nervous system, like what are the new things that we know that we didn't know like 10 years ago about the nervous system. You can do that as well.
The evidence will make your argument more interesting and credible. But don't just slap random stats on your slide and expect to wow your audience. Be sure your data comes from a reputable source and that you're presenting it in a way that's easy to understand.
Now, what reputable sources are there? Make sure it's like a .org, like a hospital, .edu, like a medical school or a nursing school. And what else? .org, .edu, and .gov, like a government agency like the Department of Health or National Institute of Health.
Like through accurate charts and graphs. Now, it's time to focus on outlining your PowerPoint design. Pick a color scheme. Whether you decide to use 2, 3, or 4 different colors in your presentation is up to you. But certain color combinations go together better than others. Pick colors that support the tone of your content, solve for legibility, and don't distract from what you have to say.
Now, there's templates that you can choose in PowerPoint. I'm going to show you them, all the different. Well, let's show you now that we're on the topic. Might as well show you right now. So let me find PowerPoint.
Design your slide backgrounds.
Let me find. So if I'm looking at a PowerPoint presentation, I have a blank. See, if you just do it like this, of course, it's not as cool. But you see, you can pick some that are what, kind of fancy. This is like some kind of cute, but for science, you should pick, and it's up here. It's called, oh no, that's not layout. For science, they like things that are lighter. Arial is typical, or something close to Arial like this is typically what do you call that? Let's see more design ideas. Like what's good for science? Let's pick one. This is nice, got geometrics and it's too artsy. I'm trying to find something. Let me click on design. You see these designs up here? Right, and then you'll find like science and medical, they like airy, light things that are, on a lighter background so they could see, because stuff like this, I don't know, it's too dark. From the training I had, it'll darken the room, it'll make everyone sleep. But if you have a lighter, more airy presentation, something like this, colorful, and you could see colors pop better on a white background, and your typography or the letters will be easier seen.
In PowerPoint, less is more. You don't ever want to let the design distract from your message. But at the same time, you want to get more creative than a plain white background, even if you're going for a very simple design. PowerPoint has
So with that being said, don't put more words than you need. You don't put whole paragraphs. You just put like word fragments, and I'll show you that as well as an example. Okay, and of course now she's mentioning pre-designed templates.
Find templates available that you can use as a starting point. To browse these templates on a Mac, click on the slide or slides you want to add the template to. Then click the Design tab at the top of the screen. To browse these templates on a PC, click on the slide or slides you want to add the template to. Then click the Design tab at the top of the screen. In the background group, click the arrow next to the background styles to open up the theme gallery. You can use one of these pre-made templates as a base to customize and add your own creative spin. Next, it's time to format your content for maximum impact. Most basic design work is done, and it's time to start filling in the information on your slides based on the text outline you created earlier. First, create a skeleton of how your slides will flow by adding a title slide, all your header slides, and maybe a few supporting slides in between. These slides shouldn't be complex, just titles and headers, a few tidbits of information, some details you want to remember down the road, and only the 1 or 2 images you're positive you want to use.
Now, if we go back to that PowerPoint. So what does she mean by that? When you insert a new slide, there's different kinds of slides. So of course, you're going to have a title page that's going to look like that. And then what's the header? This is the header part. So this part, you're always going to put like, okay, you put anatomy, right? And then you just put bullet points of what the anatomy wants to be, or like a single picture. Or you can do this. Another kind of slide you could use is one of these slides where you have anatomy, then you start talking blah, blah, blah. I like bullets. So home, this, and I can actually make it much bigger because I want to read it, right? And part 1, part 2, part 3, you know, and then it goes, and then what can I do here? Click on here and get like one big picture. And then you can like refer to that. Like, so I have nothing really distracting. It's like they're related. Or you can do that and just do this, and then the very next page would be the entire picture. Either way, you could see if you look at the different kinds of slides, you have stuff that have just title and content, if you just want to have words. Then another one where if I'm comparing 2 parts, right, I could do that. Either to content or your comparison, right? And you can really use these comparison slides for disease versus no disease, right? And picture caption and content with caption, they're also good as well. All right. Let's minimize this.
You'll add more slides and fill in the rest of the information and images later, I promise. You should start with a strong opening. Whether you like it or not, your audience is going to make value judgments about you, your organization, and your message within the first minute of your presentation. Want to ensure you start your presentation with a bang? The folks at the London Speaking Bureau suggest beginning with a dramatic, sharp opening, like a challenging question or poll. For example, you might say, "Everybody close your eyes. Now raise your hand if you've ever been rude to someone." You might also use a powerful statistic or a personal story that your specific audience can relate to. However you choose to begin, be sure.
Like another way you could also do is like kind of like a preview of your pathology. Like say, imagine if, like for nervous system, imagine if you couldn't move your fingers. Imagine if you couldn't taste anything. Imagine, you know, something like that, you know. Another way in medicine that we catch people's attention is you start with a case study. And I could show you that later, or maybe in class you can ask me, like, what's a case study and how do I do it? So you talk about an actual person with an actual neurologic problem. For example, like if you were doing, nervous system.
Engages your audience immediately, both intellectually and emotionally. Now fill in the text on your slides using concise language. Your slides are there to support the speaking components of your presentation, not replace it. If your slides contain too much information, like full sentences or paragraphs, then your audience members won't be able to help but read the slides instead of listening to you. Plus, that's boring.
Or they
Instead,
won't
use
read the
slides to enhance
slides.
keywords and show visuals while you stand up there and do the real work, telling a story and describing your data. When it comes to your slide text, focus on the main phrases of a bullet point and cover the details verbally. Finally, you should end with a strong take-home message. A lot of people get lazy with the end of their presentations, but you want to end with a bang, just like you started with one. Leave your audience with something they'll remember, something that'll make them think, and maybe even mobilize. Want to make your presentations even stronger?
So you see that there's a distinct beginning, open up with a bang, then give some details, and then what? Close with a bang. You could also talk about, like, quickly talk about how knowing and understanding your anatomy and physiology and how pathology affects it can help. And you could talk about how the patient got better, without really going into the management details of it all. So this is just a little primer for those of you who want to get into starting your presentation. But again, we're gonna allot a lot of time in week 4, hours, lots of time for you guys to work together and start putting things together. And also that particular Friday on week 4, upon our return, all of us can I can now give some other steps. Now look at all these other videos and look around, and so it'll give you helpful hints on how to see here. TED Talk is Death by PowerPoint, which was a very famous well, at least in the academic world, it was a very famous presentation that was made. I forgot, was it UPenn or University of Pennsylvania? Either or. I just remember I was in Philly at the time, around somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I took that course, Death by PowerPoint, and it's saying all the same stuff here. Be organized, be visual, be light. Use the PowerPoint not as a crutch where you're going to be reading right off of it. Use it as what? Keywords that will spark you to talk. And that's what we're actually looking for when we do the presentations. All right, with that being said, I'll also, if you guys look up APA formatting, look up how to put videos or how to put animations into your PowerPoints, and we can talk more about that in class. All right, so this is just the first installment. I'm probably going to make 2 or 3 other videos during the time we're going to be working on stuff. All right, and again, I'll see you guys in class. Bye.